Hello again. Welcome back. Automaki. A Mandarin website to publish news for new cars in Malaysia. They also publish videos on YouTube. Cool. One of the videos they reported had mentioned the Chinese electric car coming to Malaysia. Well, it's unbearable to buy an electric car to...
我操，这火大的能救灭了啊！我操，这车。 我操，这个火从那边窜出来了，火越来越大。我操 ，LED 又着火了，爆炸。
Here's the point. One of the comments typed that does communist cars can be trusted? For me, absolutely not. And for Chinese-Malaysians. By the way, in this video, Chinese-Malaysians wanted to debate him on topics, such as Chinese cars market, BYD, and maybe they made racist remarks on me. As you can see, once I saw his and his opponent's comments, it's time for me to step up, and it's about time to awake those Chinese-Malaysian citizens, which was heavily brainwashed by Astro, that linked with the... Anyway, let us begin. We'll start off a comment from Asian Wojak, mentioning that Chinese communist cars cannot be trusted. But then, the journey begins with the first opponent, Vincent, to debate Asian Wojak on Chinese cars exporting to other countries, saying,
from January to July 2022, China will export 1.33 million vehicles, a year-on-year increase of 54%, surpassing Germany and becoming the world's second-largest vehicle exporter. Japan exports of 1.77 million vehicles fell by more than 10% year-on-year. More importantly, the production capacity of Tesla's Shanghai factory has also declined. In the first half of the year, it exported less than 200,000 vehicles. The growth of exports from mainland China were local brands in China. Are you angry?
Probably using other sources, but numbers are simply a bit wrong. Regarding China's auto exports, affected by the pandemic, auto production and sales in April were 1.205 million and 1.181 million, which was down 46.2% and 47.1% from March, and 46.1% and 47.6% from the same period last year. Both the month-on-month and the year-on-year sales showed a rapid decline, and the decline was almost halved. The next thing was Asian Wojak commenting,
Vincent, do Malaysians like you dare to buy expensive cars that are a bit lousy as China? I'm dying while laughing. Why don't you dare to support your domestic cars instead?
His comment was to explain Vincent on why Malaysians, including Chinese Malaysians, really agreed to buy domestic cars which were cheaper and make other people handle other stuffs, such as healthcare, household, etc. Now is the time to step up and fight. I commented to Vincent about the production of cars in China, and Tesla's affecting the prosperity of the auto industry in China's auto sales in April were expected to fall by 48%. After waiting for an hour, Vincent was speechless. After an hour, the second Chinese Malaysian named Ginger die. Why did he use a negative name from hell? His follow-up comment was,
in the Chinese market, domestic cars account for 50% of the total. In the future, it should follow the same trend as home appliances and mobile phones. The market is divided into two parts, most of which are domestic brands, and a few international brands.
So what you're talking about Chinese market was not only just cars, but other products as well. Which makes the world even worse as the people traded between appalling Chinese businesses, products, and China Evergrande, which is in debt crisis, fell off the latest Fortune Global 500 list, and the number of Chinese real estate companies on the list dropped from 8 last year to 5. The problem is far more than that. The wave of cutoffs or bank loans involving trillions of dollars may affect China's financial stability. Some experts believe that this involves the handover of power by the CCP. This is how Chinese economics work when GDP is very low. It won't expect the stock market to rebound. CCP sucks. Following up to answer, Asian Wojak commented and said,
in the Chinese market you mentioned, in the face of a historic loss of $23 billion, SoftBank sold $34 billion of Alibaba shares on August 12 in exchange for cash to fill the shortfall. In addition, investments in companies such as Didi, Shantan, and Zhongmen Education have been lost, and Sunjini, the founder of SoftBank Group, has no regrets, so most of the domestic cars are made in the Chinese market? What logic is this? Now the Chinese market has fallen. Are you angry?
This means that investment in China started to fall and loses billions and billions of dollars. Even Alibaba had started to fall. Ginger die replied,
I'm talking about the Chinese auto market. You mean all of the Chinese markets are going to end, don't you? Say what you want, it's just your opinion, let the time to test it.
First of all, your first comment was,
In the Chinese market, domestic cars account for 50% of the total. In the future, it should follow the same trend as home appliances and mobile phones. The market is divided into two parts, most of which are domestic brands, and a few international brands.
Chinese market. Your first comment was, Chinese market. And I don't understand why did you reply about Chinese market first. And once he followed up the answer about your Chinese market, you switched the topic to Chinese auto market. And later, you rage quitted after his real hilarious response from your first quote, Chinese market. Do you not understand facts? Asian Wojak replied,
You can see that the Chinese market has lost more than $30 billion. You just wrote that it is the Chinese market. Why did you reply Chinese market for the first time? Do you disagree with what I said about the Chinese market? If the domestic car is made from the Chinese market, isn't it expensive? Using your logic, the domestic cars are all from the Chinese auto market. It takes a year to arrive in China, not 3 to 4 months. Domestic cars have nothing to do with mobile phones. May I ask if the car is made from a mobile phone? Isn't the mobile phone very small?
This is the same response. Die was just like leftism right now in the United States.
But my question to you,
I
and so I want you all to like realize
last
that.
month, but sure.
For example, gender identity disorder, that's the DSM-4, bro. We use the DSM-5 now for psychologists to be able to talk
I literally
about...
cited the DSM-5 in the speech, and it's called gender dysphoria, which is
I
the term
literally
that I
said-
use throughout the speech, not gender
You
identity
sound like a
disorder,
bozo,
which is how it's
bro.
identified
And you
in
get
the
no
DSM-4.
pussy, and you can't even make your wife wet, bro, so what's good?
So, let me just say, the nice thing about having several small children is I don't feel the necessity to have my masculinity
If we're using a
challenged by someone
Western
like you.
colonial idea of gender, then why should it apply? If we're using, because the gender binary is a Western colonialist framework of gender.
You're
you
right.
know?
Men and women don't exist in any other culture.
No.
In any.
Think
right.
about Native American.
Nailed it.
Third gender people. I'm not saying that. Third gender people exist in Native American societies, Western African societies, like Southern Native American societies, like Mexico. So in other places that are not white dominated,
And they
like
are
the United States or
incorrect.
Europe. And so you're
I'm
saying
saying
white.
they're biologically
So non-white
incorrect.
people. I'm a mathematician and a physicist. You cannot tell me.
So I have a question.
And also, you're not a biologist.
So I have a question.
I'm 20.
As a mathematician and a physicist, what in the hell do you know about human biology?
And you got
that
your
allows
law
you to
degree from
deny it?
Harvard. What do you know about biology? You got your law degree from Harvard.
And frankly, I would ask another question. If your logic is so flawed as a mathematician and a physicist, I would suggest that whichever institution gave you an award, revoke it immediately.
And now I reply to Die that
Chinese auto market, started in March, had been influenced. At the beginning on March, China's car sales plummeted, reported to Tesla.
Die replied to me that,
Well, no one buys a domestic car, okay?
Well, both of us, including me, as a Chinese person leaving China, asked the question on how many domestic cars were bought. Let me prove one of the sources on how many domestic cars, a new domestic car, were ordered in 2022.
Kita untuk model ni kita target untuk produce lebih kurang dalam 3,000 unit sebulan. Unit pertama sebenarnya kita dah register dah pagi tadi dan mulai petang ni nanti mulai pukul 12 hari ni kita akan start to deliver. Kereta-kereta ni kepada para pembeli yang dah book lah.
Moving on to the last opponent is BLW. What does his name mean? Anyway, his comment, which is ridiculous, was,
BYD's cars are exported to dozens of countries, including Northern Europe and Norway. Of course, I know that you Malays believe more in the Taiwanese media brainwashing. It's normal.
This BLW guy seems to not understand between the China news and Taiwanese medias. If you think Taiwanese medias were not trusted, why this pro-China media was shown on YouTube, even it was banned on Taiwanese TV network?
朋友是一个坚韧不拔的。
Then I replied to him that,
Taiwan media brainwashing? For example, are you insulting China? Are you anti-Republic of China and the previous Chinese history? Do you know the Chinese Communist Party media brainwashing you Chinese? And why don't you make a video to buy your Chinese car? Oh yeah, are you out of money?
it looks like these people that always trust the China news and its government wanted to insult people who opposes the Communist Party of China. Oh yeah, did you know what Chairman Xi told a phrase from his speech?
中国人不打中国人，我们愿意以最大诚意，尽最大努力，争取和平统一的前景。中国人不打中国人。
So you guys were offending me as a Chinese person?
但是一些这个地方都要出现一些弯曲的感觉，像人在特别感到是比较。
And now, BLW tried to change its car topic without answering its political questions from me. He quoted,
I'm driving an A4 now, and I've already booked a Honda MI. How about you? Where did you Malays get the confidence to spray Chinese electric cars? BYD has exported to so many countries, especially the bus is famous. What are you guys about?
but most of the countries were using gas cars, rather than electric cars, as most of the resources were from the gas. I'd constantly ask you that where is your proof that I'm the Malay? Can you show me the documents that I was Malay? Also, do you have A4 and your Honda MI?
no, 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 no.
Wait. Audi is a German car. Are you anti-China? Also, what car was I driving? I was driving a Nissan Skyline. I had replied his Audi comment in point by point, which is, number 1, you Malays. Excuse me, am I Malay? Are you insulting Chinese? It seems that I know why you like the Chinese government to humiliate China. Number 2, China's new energy electric vehicle needs to be charged for 9 hours. Waiting hours for such a car. I'm dying to laugh. And number 3 was, F you. Evolution is there, but electrics has never evolved. He also quoted on another topic that,
Check by yourself whether BYD Tang is on the list of Norwegian SUVs. Of course, the Norwegians don't understand cars like you Malays. I can understand.
I can say that Norway topic had nothing to do with Malaysia. So why don't you immigrate to Norway and surrender your Malaysian citizenship? I thought you hated Western countries, so you won't immigrate to Norway, right? The next comment I replied was,
You don't know other brands of cars like you just understand Chinese cars. You say Chinese cars can go to the whole world. I'm really dying laughing. In the 1980s, which Malaysian car was exported to so many countries? Then you video and ask you what kind of car do modern Chinese people use?
In this comment, I will give you 1 point from this comment. May I ask everyone that which Proton cars in 1980s were exported, including the United Kingdom? Find it by yourself. Well, that's it then. The power to settle Malaysian opponents in the Malaysian car community on YouTube. Wait a minute.
没有共产党就没有新中国，没有共产党就没有新中国。嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟嘟
但是一些这个地方都要出现一些弯曲的感觉，像人在特别感到是比较。